Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to After GMS. Today is Thursday, September 9th. I'm Tracy McCain here with Megan Milleris and Christian Morgan.
Good morning.
And we're here with a beautiful Mother Nature.
Yes.
She decided to be in a good mood today, giving us some beautiful consecutive days of upper 70s and low 80s, Christian. This is amazing.
We love it. She was a little angry yesterday,
Yeah.
but that's going to give way to some nice weather on the way over the next few days. If you like fall, this is what that's going to be, a taste of fall, making its way back to the Piedmont. Of course, live look right now, most of us are socked in under clouds, and that will kind of be the story for a good portion of the day. Upper 60s and low 70s out the door this morning across the board. Now notice, we still have that humidity here, but it's packing its bags. It's leaving today. Take a hike. We don't want you anymore, and that's what the story will be once that cold front gets by us. Zooming out on a wider view, notice dew points in the 40s and 50s out over the Midwest. That's what's trying to move in now behind that cold front. And eventually, it'll win out as we go into the evening hours. And notice, once we get that cold front by here, we drop in humidity, and it sticks with us for a couple days. Of course, gradually, it will build back in by the middle of next week. So where is that cold front right now? Well, it's out over the spine of the Appalachians and over the mountains. And you notice that little line of rain just ahead of the cold front? Some of that may be able to make it over the mountains as we go throughout the morning hours, but I would expect no more than a sprinkle or a stray shower across the area as we go throughout the morning hours. Again, slow moving front. It's not winning any awards for speed, but once it gets by this evening, we'll notice a little more in the way of sunshine clearing out as we go into the afternoon and into the evening hours. But the big thing that you will notice, that humidity will fall off fast. It will be very noticeable tonight, and especially by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. High pressure builds in from the north. That brings that cooler air in out of the north and out of the northwest, out of Canada. That's where that supply of colder and cooler drier air is coming from. So here's the plan today. We stick it out in the 70s for a good portion of the day. The clouds will make it tough for us to warm up very much. Of course, if we get the sunshine to break out a little earlier, we could make it into the upper 70s, near 80 degrees. We'll just kind of see what happens with that, but expect to stick it out in the 70s for most of the day. 76, 77 degrees is about where we'll top out tonight, but behind that front, get ready. Clear skies, low humidity, recipe for a chilly night of weather compared to where we've been the last several weeks and months. Temperatures will drop down into the mid 50s overnight heading into your Friday. Hey, real quick check. Don't know if you saw this yesterday, but we now have Tropical Depression Mindy. That's about all we need to say about that. It will bring rain to Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. It will not bother us in North Carolina. Meanwhile, Hurricane Larry, Category 2 storm, still out in the Atlantic, just east of Bermuda. That's not going to bother the Carolinas other than some strong rip currents at the coast this weekend. So if you're heading to the beaches over the next several days, let me exercise this again. Be super careful, and it's really best just to stay on land. Dangerous rip currents from the Grand Strand up to the Crystal Coast of North Carolina and all along the Outer Banks, of course, due to Hurricane Larry. So keep that in mind. Play it safe. Stay on the sand this weekend if you're going to be at the coast. Meanwhile, we'll enjoy that taste of fall back here at home. Starting out in the 50s, upper 70s for your Friday afternoon. Morning lows in the 50s, afternoon highs in the low and mid 80s over the weekend, and not humid. I'm excited.
So a high school student is facing charges after a school resource officer found a handgun at Parkland High School. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office said this all happened when someone reported the possibility of a gun, prompting a school search. A school resource officer then found the handgun with a student. Thankfully, investigators say no one was hurt or threatened.
There was a similar situation in CASWELL County. The sheriff's office there says deputies found a loaded gun at BARTLETT YANCEY High School in Yanceyville. Deputies initially responded to the school because of a fight between 3 students. One of those students needed medical attention. Deputies say they found a loaded gun on a student and put the school on lockdown to be safe. Deputies arrested 2 students.
Well, those incidents came just a week after the shooting at Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem that left a 15-year-old dead. William Miller Jr. was his name.
Yeah, community leaders, parents now saying enough is enough, and they want to make sure classrooms are safe for their students. One way to do it, some suggestions, would include metal detectors or clear backpacks.
We want to know, what do you think will help keep schools safe? Let us know in the comments below. Some of you already shared your thoughts on our Facebook page. Sarah said, have more mental health providers. We also heard from Dale, who said by the time the law gets there, the damage is done. Plenty of veterans need jobs. Hire veterans for security.
Melody said clear backpacks will not solve anything when they can easily hide anything in their clothes. And Jerry said metal detectors. A lot of you are already responding in our chat, and we'll read some of those and get you to weigh in. Deborah said clear book bags, metal detectors, no student driving. That's interesting. We also heard Joanne who said, why not put prayer and the pledge to the flag, a morning ritual every day over the loudspeakers back into classrooms. Janera said parents take responsibility of their kids' action and stop being friends with them and be parents. Ask the hard questions. Be consistent in knowing who your children are friends with and be cognitive of their actions as well. Search your kids' book bags. We must do the work as well, she said.
Wow, we also heard from Joanne, why not put prayer and the pledge to the flag every morning as a ritual every day over the loudspeakers? We heard from Dana, who said, when I was a school administrator, school safety would keep me up at night. There's no magic pill to make schools safer. Kids are smarter than people give them credit for. She said in a school with more than 1,200 kids and 80 staff members, you can't see everything. Schools need controlled entries and metal detectors. Clear backpacks don't work. She said kids can hide things other places. That's interesting. We've heard some of these suggestions, namely metal detectors and clear backpacks in the past couple of days. Obviously, there's a cost factor to consider there too, where schools would get the money for those measures if they don't already have them in place. You know, how do you control the entries that students necessarily are not supposed to go in and out of during the day? There's a lot to consider here, of course, but yeah, I mean, those sound like probable solutions, but it's just there's a lot more at play here. You know, it was interesting. We heard the governor talk last week with the Forsyth County Sheriff and Winston-Salem Police Chief after the events that unfolded at Mount Tabor. And the governor had said or mentioned that every school in North Carolina has a violence prevention plan, and those have been upgraded over the years, as sadly over the country we've seen more reports of school shootings. He also mentioned that the Department of Safety has layouts of every single public school in North Carolina. And that's important because in instances like Mount Tabor, authorities need to be able to get in quickly. They need to know where students are. They need to know where the classrooms are and how to methodically check them to make sure that they are safe and ultimately evacuate the building if that is what needs to happen.
Yeah, we live in an age now where safety plans, contingency plans, protocols are important in saving children's lives. So teachers are now doing the trainings, school administrators are doing the trainings, students themselves are doing these active shooting trainings so that they have this knowledge to fall back on should a worst case scenario happen at school. So they're prepared. We certainly hope we never see this in our communities, but we did. And so now we have to talk about it because no one wants to see this happen again. The solution, I wish I had it because I would implement it like this and, oh, guess what? I figured it out. Let's do it. I think it's going to take more than that, unfortunately, and this could be years in the making. We hope it doesn't take that long to come up with a solution that works for every single school, not only in the state, but across the nation. I do want to read an idea that Jessica had. Jessica Richards said, personal opinion, as a veteran's wife, they should give homeless or veterans who come on hard times a job to protect our kids at school. I personally would feel safer for my kids. And that is, I think Jessica is on the right track here with a great idea. You know, veterans have fought and protected our country for so honorably for so many years on active duty, and then when they've come home. So this is a great opportunity, or at least a suggestion to consider in moving forward in this safety conversation. So Christian, you know, what are your thoughts on this?
You know, it's a slippery slope. We all have different opinions. We all have different ideas on how this should be handled. And I don't think any of us really have all the answers. This is not something that can be fixed with a flip of a switch overnight. You know, I really like the ideas about doing the training, you know, upgrading the safety protocols, making sure that everybody knows, like Megan was mentioning, how the classrooms, how the school is laid out, who's where and when. all those things, of course, it takes time to learn all that and to really have all that down pat. And I also like the idea of increasing, the amount of officers that we have. And I like the idea of maybe having some veterans in the schools. If they're looking for something to do, they're home, they retired, whatever it might be, to further increase the staff at the schools for those safety reasons. Of course, that goes back to the same thing about having the resources to be able to fund that, to be able to provide for those extra staff members, those extra hands that you have in the school. So there's so many good ideas out there. I just think they all need to be heard, but we can't just give our ideas and then sit back and hope that they get listened to and hope they kind of get put into action. We put the ideas out there, we speak our minds, and now it's time to really get down and start putting that, putting those plans or those ideas into action and figuring out what we can do. And I'll just say this too, overall, I'm a firm believer in the power of prayer, and I feel like I should say this, we need to be praying for our students, our teachers, and the staff of every single one of our schools, not only here in the Triad, but also all over the country, every single day as these students go to class and hopefully have a safe and healthy year.
It is part of my daily prayer
Yeah.
every day before my son leaves from school. I'm praying for him and his classmates and every child who's going to school for so many different reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And all the troubling things that 2021 presents. But Christian, prayer is a powerful thing.
Amen.
Yeah, well, it looks like Diane agrees with you. She said put the Bible back in school. She believes in the power of prayer. And then we heard from another viewer, Isla, who said, I like the active shooting trainings idea. We have seen these active shooter drills happen more frequently over the past few years. I don't necessarily know that they're uniform for students necessarily, but teachers certainly receive training, as Dana had noted. And it's crazy to think that, your young child especially would have to learn what to do in the event of an active shooter. I mean, that's almost unfathomable. But I recall, when we were in school, we had tornado drills and fire drills, and that was about it. We had never thought that this was something that we needed to prepare for when we go to the classroom. But knowing what to do and having that quick thinking, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student, whether you're a school resource officer, can really make all the difference. Seconds matter. And a lot of this is going to lie with the students. We've heard law enforcement say this. We've heard teachers say this. It is so important that if you see something or you know something, you say something, you report it to professionals who can help. You don't reshare it on social media. That is how rumors get started. That's how fear happens. That's how everything gets confused. All those threats, any kind of a threat needs to be reported to the proper people.
Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I was going to say, one thing that some folks have mentioned on here and that we talked about is the possibility of going to the clear book bags. And that might seem like a stretch to some people, but when you draw it, but when you kind of step back, you have to do that. You have to have a clear pocketbook. Ladies, I know you guys have to carry a clear pocketbook if you go to, certain sporting events or go to certain places like that. So it's really not that far-fetched. And honestly, if that's what it takes for us to be able to keep our kids safe, I mean, clear book bag all the way, man.
I was going to mention one thing that we talked about on the Good Morning Show that I don't believe was in this conversation was a focus for mental health resources, counselors, psychologists, just extra hands to help children kind of process any emotions that they may be going through. You might have heard of it be called like SEL or social and emotional learning, because kids respond to their emotions in different ways. I think everybody does. And so there was someone had mentioned, maybe this is what we can do to help our children more, is to provide these resources that can focus on mental health. And that was just something that I felt like we needed to say again here on this format, because we did mention it on the Good Morning Show, and that was just another suggestion to try to move forward.
I agree.
Yeah, and Mount Tabor in particular is doing what it can to make sure students and staff this week have counseling resources in the days ahead as they need them. This was a great conversation. We thank you for weighing in. We'll have another one coming up, lighten the mood a little bit, but right now we have some morning headlines to get to. It is 8 o'clock and we will start with this. If I can get this we to work. I'm sorry, Mount Tabor. Thank you, Tracy. Mount Tabor will play Page High School in a football game that was delayed initially after the tragedy last week. The team will play this first football game since the shooting. They were set to play Page High School last Friday, but postponed it due to the shooting.
This morning, the search for an armed and dangerous suspect in Greensboro now involves the FBI. Police say Malik Moore is wanted in 2 murders and at least 1 robbery in our state. Officers say he might have cut his hair to look different from this booking photo. Investigators say he has ties to both Greensboro and Winston-Salem, but the FBI says he could be traveling to North Carolina, South Carolina, or Virginia. Authorities believe he is using trains to travel city to city, state to state. They say all the crimes he's allegedly connected to happen close to Norfolk Southern Railroad lines. If you see him, call 911. A quick note here. Today, Governor Roy Cooper and his COVID-19 task force will update you on the state's COVID metrics. That meeting is expected to happen at 3 o'clock. Of course, we'll stream it for you on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page, and we'll keep you updated on air and online. All
right, let's get to our next conversation. Wow, this forecast. As soon as you step outside, you're going to have something to say about it. It might feel like fall is making a comeback a little early. The fall equinox is not for a couple weeks yet, but our high today is 78 and humidity is noticeably coming down.
That's right. So, are these comfortable temperatures motivating you to put up fall decorations? Do you have any yet? Or is it not really something you do? You kind of just skip over that. Let us know in the comments.
So technically the fall equinox starts September 22nd, but for some of you, the urge to deck out your house in fall decor is maybe hard to ignore. Even businesses have been rolling out their fall flavors, their drinks. I saw Halloween candy the other day at a local grocery store. Pumpkin spice is all over the place. So are you ready to decorate for fall, or are you holding off a couple more weeks? I guess I can start with this one. I felt the urge to decorate last weekend. I have some decorations in my attic, little pumpkins and some broomsticks for Halloween. But then, I don't know, I looked at the long-range 7-day forecast and I saw those upper 80s coming back and I thought, I don't know. And then I mentioned yesterday I was at the farmer's market and I saw all the beautiful mums already out. And I texted my dad, who is a farmer. He was as a child, and his family grew and sold beautiful flowers, including mums. And he said, it's too early. They're really not going to do well if you go ahead and plant them now. So I'm going to wait a couple more weeks and then go ahead. I want to enjoy fall.
Yeah, absolutely. I do normally decorate for fall, although we moved last winter. So I have to find those decorations because I have no idea where they are. Remember, I was like 3 weeks away from having a baby. I just was like, let's put it in there. I'll figure it out later. I still haven't figured it out, but I will.
No better time than right now.
Exactly. So I do typically start decorating for fall, usually at the end of September. That last week of September, moving into October, because then it really starts to feel like fall. I don't really think it's going to feel like fall, like for consistent days until the end of September, beginning October, and then I'll get into it. But they've been starting to sell not only Halloween decorations, but Halloween costumes and candy in late July.
Oh yeah, I saw Halloween candy in the stores. I mean, full stock shelves of it a month ago.
Yeah.
I just think people want a distraction from everything going on in the world. This, year and a half of COVID-19. We know that people left their Christmas decorations up longer last year because of this. In fact, people were encouraged to do that. And so I just really think it's like getting into that mindset of a fresh start, a new season. And so that might be the motivation behind starting earlier.
You know, I said yesterday, I think we talked a little bit about this in the fall weather coming back. We always want what we can't have, right? And it's like we get to the end of winter and we're all everybody's ready for spring, and you get a couple of those warm days and then it's off to the races. Your mind's already set on spring and on summer. And I think it's kind of the same way this time around, where everybody's so sick of the thick humidity that we've had over the last month, and you get these little tastes of fall, and then it kind of sets your mind into that into that lane, and it's off to the races for fall. I mean, like you said, the fall drinks are back, the pumpkin spice stuff is back. My mom goes all out for decorating no matter what season it is, and I was at home in Asheboro over the weekend, and at least half of the house is already done in fall and Halloween decor.
Yeah, your mom is like my, good housekeeping role model.
If it gives you any indication of what fall is like, at Christmas there are 7 Christmas trees.
Yeah, you mentioned like every room has a tree.
Yeah, every room has a tree.
Like a bathroom too, didn't you say?
Every room's got a pumpkin in fall.
That's so awesome. Okay, well, she is my the model of what it could be. I'm kind of like half of that. I don't put a tree in every every room. But yeah, people are starting to talk about it, and I think, you know, since Megan started the conversation about decorations, people are falling in accord. Joanne said, "My whole house is already decorated for Thanksgiving. Stop by. The mums are blooming."
Wow, maybe not too early for mums. I don't know.
Exactly. Jessica Rule said, "I start really decorating for Halloween in July. It's her favorite season." And then Jessica Richards said, "People just need something to be excited about and feel normal." So more on your idea that we just want an escape. Heather said, "I don't have a lot of decorations, but I'll be putting my pumpkin door hanger up late September after the 26th. That's usually when I do it too." And then our Brian said, "Maybe Christmas decorations right now might be a good thing. Kind of boost the spirit a little bit and make you feel joyous and happy and kind of take, you know, stock of all the good things happening in your life."
Yeah. There is a lot of good still happening. There are a lot of good people. There are a lot of good blessings, big and small. Sometimes we just have to look a little harder than other times to find them, but they're there.
And you know, even though I'll go back to this with everything that's been going on at Mount Tabor, you know, over the last week, it's been a tough week. But it really shows you how the triad really comes together, and we show up when our folks need it. It really kind of makes you proud of where you're from and where you live.
Yeah. Can I read this comment from Rhonda?
Please.
It's a tribute to your mom. She said, "Christian's mama rocks." And I agree.
Hey, Rhonda. I know Rhonda.
Oh, do you?
I do.
So then she knows your mom?
Yes, she does.
Oh, okay. So this is a verified account of how awesome your mom is. I love it.
A credible
My mom
source.
is pretty awesome. I will attest to that.
So cool.
That is so funny. All right, this is a fun conversation. Christian, why don't you close us out with a final look at our 7-day forecast?
All right, big changes on the way today. Cloudy and humid right now. That will not be the story tonight. Cold front moves by this afternoon. We get a little more in the way of sunshine by evening. Maybe a nice sunset too. Cross our fingers, hold our breath for that. Temperatures in the upper 70s this afternoon with the extra clouds. It'll be really hard to warm up past that as we go into your Thursday. Tonight, though, clearing skies, that low humidity will set the stage for a cool night of weather, dropping down into the 50s. By tomorrow morning, it's all sunshine, upper 70s for your Friday afternoon, and a stellar weekend on tap. Morning lows in the 50s, afternoon highs in the low and mid 80s, and not humid. Of course, it's still that time of the year. We can't keep that around for long. We get these little tastes of fall, but it's back to getting warm, hot again by the start of next week.
Taste of fall. I started thinking about hot chocolate and apple cider, but you were talking about the weather. I'm always talking about food.
Everything I do revolves around food, whether it's weather, you know, it all revolves around food.
Because you're a good guy. All right, thanks so much for joining us on After GMS. Certainly has been a blast talking with you. These two conversations were great.
Yeah, they were. We hope to do this same time, same place tomorrow. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
See you.